Guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today, we're gonna continue the double upload trend, baby. What was what was that? Is this double upload, Ash? Is that what it means? Anyway, we're gonna continue the double upload trend. In case you missed it, I'm trying to catch up on content because I have so much to share with you guys. Today, we'll be doing this in talking about Rascals and CRL China right now. We'll be doing Pro vs. Pro later on tonight. Yesterday, we did 2 Mega Knight decks shared by Pompeo and Trainer Guard, as well as a Golem deck shared by Sanadude. In case you missed any of that content or are looking forward to content coming up in the future, of course, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, whatever, if you guys want to be alerted when that content is live. So today, I want to talk about Rascals, and I also want to share you the best competitive Rascal decks in the game right now from the finals, the final day where Nova Esports won Spring CRL China. So before we get into that footage, let's talk about Rascals. Namely, why didn't Supercell nerf them? They're really, really strong right now. They're still in competitively, meaning Grand Challenge challenges, Classic challenges, CRL and other competitions, RPL. They're dominating all the top meta decks. However, we're not seeing that translated to ladder. In ladder, the use rates and the win rates are still rather low. I say that's just because people haven't leveled them up. They've leveled them up a little bit, some people to tournament level standard, but beyond that, to be viable at 4K trophies and beyond, not just yet. That's my theory. What's yours? I want to talk about the recent AMA real quick that Clash Royale Supercell dev team did. And you can see Seth, actually, aka the Rumham, answered a question about Rascals. And here's what he said. He said, "We don't intentionally leave overpowered cards. Rascals are seeing their stats drop by the week, so we did not want to overreact after just 2 to 3 weeks of play. Both princes sport solid win rates, but nothing too crazy." The original question was about princes and Rascals. They have sub 50% win rates in GC 8-12 bracket. That's princes, not Rascals. "We hope the Valken and MK become more reasonable counters. If they remain strong, we can look at them. But we are never purposely leaving OP cards just for the sake of it." So I like that question. I really like that they're not overreacting, because you know what? If there's one thing that sucks in this game, besides broken ladder, besides the paywall on ladder, which I hope is going to be addressed in the June update, stay tuned. But if there's one thing that sucks, is when you invest gold, hard-earned gold, it's not easy to come by anymore in the game, into upgrading a card, and then boom, especially if it's a new card, they nerf it right afterwards. So I do agree with Rumham. However, with that said, I'd be remiss. You guys know I've been banging the Rascals really strong, borderline OP drums since the day they were released, guys. Even though a lot of pros said they weren't strong at first, now everybody, at least in the pro, more competitive community that I see on Twitter and stuff, thinks they're really strong. And as a matter of fact, Surgical Goblin tweeted this. He's like, "Where are the Rascal? Where's the Rascal nerf?" after the balance changes were announced. So my take is this. Let's talk about Rascals. They're in Lava Loon Rascals, Rascal bait, like log bait decks. They're in Rascal Graveyard. They're even in Rascal. I'm seeing Rascal in so many different archetypes. It's really crazy right now how much they're dominating. Rascal Mortar is the #1 deck at high ladder, where people do have those Rascals upgraded. So I think there's no question about it. Rascals, because they're in that weird spot, right? Because they're easy to overlevel, which is good and bad, because as a free-to-play player, you should want good common cards that you can use to contend with other over-leveled common and rare cards, right? So in a way, they're really good that they're a common. In a way, they're bad because people can over-level them and then dominate people with lower-level cards. So if that makes any sense. So, but my opinion is that they did deserve a little bit of a nerf here. If you see Stats Royale right now, which just shows a collection of data, not the whole picture, but it's still pretty accurate. So Rascals are the #1 card both in Grand and Classic challenges right now. #1 card in terms of use rates and win rates. That's pretty dang impressive for a new common card. Even some people haven't leveled them up to tournament level standard yet. So my takeaway here is that I think they'll be nerfed in the next balance change, which is only like 3 weeks away now. It's crazy that we'll be getting them every 4 weeks. I feel like I'll just be having new meta video after new meta video after new meta video. So anyway, my take again, guys, is they do deserve a little bit of a nerf. They will continue to dominate the meta as people upgrade them. They should be way more prevalent on ladder, so I would expect them to be. I would expect people to level them up and use them successfully in ladder as well. What do you guys think about Rascals? Did they forget to nerf them, or are you on board? Are you on Supercell's side? Do you agree with what Seth said there in that response? I want to hear from you guys, but for now, let's go ahead and take a look at the top Rascal decks in the game so you guys can use them and hopefully dominate.
Yeah, because the bass in the course, wife asking divorce, taking half of your cash, now you bask in remorse, turning right.
All right, guys, here we are gonna hop right into these matches. I picked out 3 really awesome Rascal decks from CRL China finals, played by the man, the myth, the legend. It's Lciop, the silent assassin on the bottom of your screen. The next deck's gonna be by Hire. It's going to be a PEKKA Rascal Hog deck, which is super strong. And the third deck will be a deck played by Legend. Again, it's going to be just a Miner control or Miner cycle, Miner poison Rascal deck, which another super strong deck. I think you guys are going to really like these 3 decks. So right off the bat here, you can see Lciop is going against another graveyard deck, and both of the decks here have poison. The deck being played here by the guy on the top, I looked up all these name pronunciations before the video. I already forgot them, guys. I'm hopeless, but by Gio Bao, we'll call him. He's playing a really awesome version of the deck too. He actually has Giant Skeleton in this deck, so if you're looking for an off-meta Giant Skeleton deck, maybe give the deck on the top a try too. But either way, I will have all the Rascal decks linked for you guys in the description below, the deck link, so you can just one-click copy them in-game if you're watching, of course, on mobile. So here we go. The first Rascal play, Lciop going to take things rather passively at first. Want to see like what the win condition of the opponent is, even though he probably suspects it's graveyard by now. He hasn't seen it yet, so he's not going to overcommit to anything at this point. He just wants to kind of slow play this. So he's going to get, send in a log, get a little chip damage, cycle in the back, get more goblin huts down on the board. But for now, he sees the giant skeleton. He knows the opponent is going to be relatively low on elixir, so he attacks that left lane with his very first graveyard. Of course, the opponent answering with poison, so now he knows kind of what he's up against here. He sees a graveyard by the opponent. Now he definitely knows the win condition, and it's going to be a giant skeleton graveyard deck. Man, that can really be challenging to stop. It's definitely a not a slouch of a deck here, and I love the giant skeleton. I have a deck that I'm going to share with giant skeleton in just a few days with you guys, maybe over the weekend, which I think that you guys are really going to love as well. Like I said, an abundance of content here to share with you guys here on CWA. So again, here kind of reloading with the goblin hut, and we're going to send in a graveyard again here on the left side, and we send in an offensive poison here. Now it's a great poison. It's going to do damage obviously to the tower, going to support that graveyard, also going to take a lot of HP off of that goblin hut. So we do strike first, getting a lot of damage on that left lane. Meanwhile, we do have a big giant skeleton rather in the left lane we're gonna have to deal with here, and we're gonna deal with it very nicely. Now we're focusing most of our elixir here on countering that giant skeleton, and then we'll use the poison defensively against that graveyard. Always going to be holding that poison for the graveyard, and we do have the advantage in that we have 2 big poison bait cards in the deck, guys. We have not only Rascals, which are great poison bait and great log bait, but we also have the goblin hut. So really giving enormous poison value for the opponent and seeing if they bite on something other than our graveyard. And that's the kind of crux of this deck in a nutshell. The opponent way more apt to poison your goblin hut rather than tombstone, which is the other version of this deck popularized by Big Spin, the tombstone version of this graveyard deck being played by Lciop. So again, you can see just damage wise, we're doing really well. A lot of damage on both of the opponent's towers. Lciop knows he has it down here, takes off the headphones. That's going to be GG, right tower down. So the silent assassin wins again. For those of you who missed that video, Lciop was voted MVP of CRL China. I'll include that video just kind of highlighting his matches in the description below for you guys as well. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next match here, guys. I picked this one from actually Saturday. This was day 1 of the playoffs between OP and Go Esports, and it's going to be Hire. Now we're going to pay attention to Hire's deck. Hire actually was, if I'm not mistaken, he had the second highest win percentage in CRL China behind Lciop, of course. I could be wrong there, but I'm almost certain of that fact. Anyway, either way, Hire is a really good player. Matter of fact, OP is a really solid team. Probably my favorite team behind Nova in CRL China, just by watching their replays and seeing their player roster. Incredibly impressive. Anyway, we want to pay attention to Hire's deck because you guys are going to love this one. It's a super solid Rascal deck, guys, and it is Hog and P.E.K.K.A as well. And the beautiful thing about this is we have Goblin Gang in the deck too. So what this is kind of doing, this deck, is making the opponent choose. Again, do they want to log the Rascals? If so, Thick Boy stays alive, the boy Rascal remains alive, and then we can just support him with our Goblin Gang, knowing that the opponent doesn't have log anywhere near their cycle. They just used it on the girls, you know? So there's some options here in this deck besides just defending with the P.E.K.K.A and the E-Wiz. If you don't have E-Wiz buys, guys, you can go ahead and sub in Musketeer. Musketeer actually does pretty well in this deck. In the position of the E-Wiz gives you a little bit extra kind of oomph against those air attacks. So doing more DPS, but obviously not having that stun and double target effect. So anyway, guys, you can see here he's going to come in with a Royal Ghost. We're going to go ahead and just answer with Rascals. It's a great counter because, you know, the boy Rascal doesn't even take a ton of damage. And now, again, we have like a little mini push that the opponent has to respond to here. And you can see he just used log, just like we talked about, so we can support at the bridge using a gang. And check it out, we just melted away 4 elixir just like that, killing that magic archer by the opponent. And remember, on the previous sequence, they did kill the opponent's Royal Ghost too. So just like that, getting 7 elixir value, taking out the Royal Ghost, and of course the baiting out the log, taking out the Royal Ghost, and taking out the magic archer. And here it comes. This is going to be a nice little push here, getting that hog on the tower, taking it down. And the first push, if you guys missed it, was a big P.E.K.K.A push, P.E.K.K.A hog. The opponent really couldn't do anything. And the opponent here is playing a giant Prince deck, a Goizen deck, a classic Goizen deck with Royal Ghost subbed in and Magic Archer, so I guess it's kind of a new version of classic. Either way, guys, it's a strong deck, a very competent deck in the meta, and we're absolutely destroying it. This deck is anti-Goizen, anti-beatdown, anti-giant, anti-golem, at the fullest. It's anti-hog too. I mean, this deck is just really, really robust defensively speaking. And here with only 5 seconds left on the clock here, it's going to be GG, not even close. That was an OP performance there by Higher, and he gives kind of a pseudo fist pump or arm raised and then a cough. I'm doing play-by-play on body language here, guys. Hope you enjoy it. All right, let's go into Legend's match, guys. I think that all of you probably know Legend. He's been on the channel a couple times now. He is the #1 Vietnamese player in the world. He plays for Nova Esports. He's competing in CRL China, and he's probably, you know, all our players are so good. We have Sergio Ramos, we have AU, and we have Lciop, we have Tally, we have Aaron, and they're all incredibly good, but Legend, man, the name says it all. He's really, really good. Specifically about deck building, he is known to be one of the best deck makers in the game. I would love to have him on someday, even if he can't speak, even if he speaks broken English, just having a translator. I don't know if you guys would like that, or having subtitles on, but he's just such a wealth of knowledge and one of the most, I don't know, mysterious pros in the game, if that even makes sense. Just because we don't hear a lot from Legend. He's a soft-spoken guy, but he just creates these awesome decks. Speaking of awesome decks, check out the deck that he's playing right now. Again, a deck that personally I haven't seen before I saw Legend playing it. I don't know if he's the creator of this deck per se, but he popularized all kinds of decks in the past. He popularized the Vietnam deck. He created, or at least was the first one to play competitively, a Hog 3 Musketeer deck, a Cycle deck, kind of a faster version, non-pump version. Legend is just a really good player. He should have been at CCGS finals, couldn't get a visa in time. Shame, shame, shame. That was not his fault, though. I shouldn't say shame on him, just shame on the process. Very flawed process for CCGS World Finals. Anyway, all right, so check out the deck, guys. It's really cool. The Inferno Dragon was kind of a wild card, being the last card revealed here, and it's just a really solid deck. You can stop anything with this deck. Tell me one deck that this deck would have a problem with. I don't think there is any. That's why I called it a minor control rather than a minor cycle. Even though it's not super expensive, you do have answers for pretty much anything the opponent could throw at you here, and we have poison that we're going to use on the left side on those 2 of the 3 Musketeers. The right Musketeer is not going to provide a ton of value for the opponent. This is going to be another kind of really, I don't know, overpowered performance here by Legend. Absolutely not making any mistakes in this match. So here comes the Tombstone. He knew the opponent had Fireball there, so he played the Spirit Goblins in the opposite lane. Hog denied any damage because we backed it up with Rascals. You guys see that? Just like Legend knowing that 0-2 was probably going to send in the Fireball there, didn't give him any value at all. He had the Tombstone. He played Spirit Goblins on the right, waited till the fireball was baited, then played the Rascals on the left, just a solid play there, and then he takes down that right tower, just chipping away with the Miner the entire match here, preventing any hog damage. Just an absolute dominant performance. I hope you guys enjoyed that deck. It's a really cool and it looks like a really strong deck. I think that I want to see that deck and like B-Rad in Tag's hands and see what they can do with it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I want to hear your take on the Rascals. Let me know in the comments below. Stay tuned for the Pro v Pro later on tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Check out the player profiles and stats of all the players that we showed today that I can find on statsroyale.com in the description below. Huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information as well. Guys, thanks for watching all the way till the end. Really appreciate it. And as always, take care, guys.